Conditions for Task 5 were better than previous days. 9 pilots made it to goal, and I finally made it past minimum distance and also tagged a couple of waypoints. Hooked into a decent thermal about 5 minutes after takeoff, along with several other gliders. It got quite busy in the thermal, but this time the gliders were all well behaved and flying in predictable paths. I spent 10 minutes at around 1350 metres and topped out at nearly 1600 metres just after the first start gate. I had enough height to fly out into the valley, tag the first turnpoint and return to Nudo at just below ridgetop height. Another 10 minutes and I was at about 1250 metres and decided to cross the valley towards Kelowna. There was some hint of lift part way across, but I left it and arrived slightly east of Kelowna at about 900 metres. A few minutes later I caught a thermal over the electricity wires which carried me towards turnpoint 2 at San Martino. A difficult thermal to stick with. It took me to about 1200 metres before I lost it and flew back onto the ridge at San Martino and took the second turnpoint. I was hoping for more lift here, possibly picking up that same thermal as it worked its way up the ridge, but it was not to be. I probably should have flown straight back into wind onto the Kelowna ridge to search for lift there, but instead carried on scratching on San Martino and sank out. 5 minutes later I arrived over the Massiano landing field, not too high but enough to get a good approach and a decent landing. A much better day for me in the competition at last. 32nd place on the day, which took me off the bottom of the table and up to 45th position overall. 15 pilots would again get minimum distance scores, which showed that while the conditions were slightly better than earlier in the week, they were still challenging. For me, losing the thermal part way to turnpoint 2 and assuming that I would find lift on the San Martino ridge was today's mistake, compounded with not returning as soon as possible to the Colonna ridge.